Hi everyone, I'm Tom Whitaker. In this video, I'm very excited to show you what I've been working on for the past 2 weeks. I've been going through my past data on my BFBM manager, and I've been comparing it with the data in the Betamin database, and I've found what I would say are the 6 best public strategies on Betamin. I was inspired by my own little article that I wrote recently about how to log bot results better. And as I was explaining it and going through it, I thought, well, I need to do that with my bots. I want to see these kind of results with my Betamin bots, because I have hundreds of bots. I've got loads of test bots that I've been running with BFBM Manager using Betamin strategies as the trigger picks. And they've been running a lot of them since March last year, March 2025. So now I have a full year of data. And this is all with Betfair exchange odds and the Betamin website odds. They're pinnacle odds, very sharp odds, but the Betfair exchange odds are a little bit better. Even when you're paying commission, I pay the 2% commission, and I've been able to run them with Whitaker staking bots. And now I have a full year of data, and I took all that data and I took from each of my monthly snapshots, and I wrote down just how much profit it was making each month for each of the strategies that I chose to focus on. I did have lots of different strategies I was checking the data for, and in the end I boiled it down to 6 strategies that I would say are the best strategies on Betamin. And that's what I want to share with you in this video. In the last year with Whitaker staking, those 6 strategies have made 140 points. That's 140% of whatever starting bank you had. So if you had £1,000, you'd make £1,400 profit. If you had £10,000, you'd make £14,000 profit. And that's based on 1,232 real bets over the last 12 months. And you can see how it performed in a graph, and that's including the big drop we had in December at the end of last year. And that was followed up with a recovery the next month. So overall, it makes an average of 12% per month, with 75% of months ending in profit. That's a nice number. It's only 6 strategies, so it's very easy to manage with manual betting or automated betting. And that 12% is based on standard Whitaker staking. That's a kind of smart level stakes. So it's not going to be increasing the stake sizes as your bank gets bigger. So if you do that, then there's opportunity for even more profit, but I'll get onto that later on. But the most important thing is, what are they? So the 6 strategies I found that I think are really good, and if you are using Betamin, then you really must be following these and putting these into your set of strategies. You probably know some of the names. Banker is a home win strategy. It's quite low odds, betting on home favourites. E2 is also a strategy that bets on favourites, but it tends to have higher average odds than the banker strategy. And it can also bet on away favourites sometimes. It's mostly home favourites, but it's sometimes away favourites. Over 2 is an over 2.5 goals strategy. And this is one of the ones I've actually said is the best out of all of them. If I had to pick one strategy out of the whole set of back-tested strategies we've been using over the years, then over 2 I'd say is the best one. A9 is a draw strategy, and then the last 2, TW Pro Home is a home win strategy, and that's based on the original Pro Home strategy that if you use Betamin, you know that was very popular a couple of years ago. And the last one is one I've made, Tom Whitaker VSG 11 Home Chance. So it's those 6 strategies. And I'm really excited about these because they're proven with real bets. So I've used the data from Betamin itself. I've used the since shared data. So these strategies were researched and created on Betamin using their database of historical odd and football statistics. But once it's been created and shared, all the bets after that can be considered new bets, as if they're live bets, no longer based on back testing, and there's no risk of overfitting on them because they're literally as if someone's been betting on those picks long term. So the since shared data is really important to me. So I always use the since shared data when I'm considering if a strategy is working or not. And not only are they working with pinnacle closing odds, which are very tight, they're very sharp odds, But they also work even better with Betfair Exchange odds. So if you use Betfair Exchange, or if you use any sportsbook that isn't a sharp sportsbook like Pinnacle or any of the Asian bookmakers, then you should get better results as well. And it works on BFBM Manager. It works with the Betfair Exchange, and I use them with Whittaker Staking, and they got really nice results, and it was good to see them work over the last 12 months. Unfortunately, I didn't have a lot of money on them over the last 12 months because I was running a lot of different test bots, but there was real money on them. Each of the bot sets had a £100 bank, and that's where the data's coming from. And then I took that data and I ran it through the staking machine, which is software that you can use to analyze different staking plans. And that's how I also confirmed, based on the Pinnacle odds and the Pinnacle bet results, that Whittaker Staking is what I would think is the best staking plan to use for these. As a group of strategies, in the coming weeks I'm going to try and look at each strategy individually, but as a group, then Whittaker Staking works best for them. So first of all, I want to show you the key data, which is these 6 strategies. Altogether, they make an average of about 12% a month. 75% of the months ended in a win, and that's based on 12 months of data. And these 12 months of data, that's my data from the real bets I placed on the BFBM Manager. So yeah, you can see them here. There's the A9 one, 205 bets. There's the Banker one, 482 bets. And this is Whittaker Staking. So what that 100 means, based on a £100 starting bank, is it's doubled its bank basically. It's made 100 points profits. That's 100% profit. A9, 57% profit. What else we got in it? Over 2, 15% profit, which is, it may not look that fantastic, but this is beyond just the last year. Over 2 has had a long history of good performance, which is why I'm happy to keep that in there. I think it is a good long-term real strategy. And then we've got the home chance one, 34%, and the pro home one, 54%. And this is all in 1 year, results after 1 year. Yeah, there's a lot of other ones with green as well, but I've not included them because just for various reasons. Oh, there's E2, 32%, but for some reasons I've chosen not to keep them in, just with maybe I found their variance to be up or down, or their win rate too low, that it made me uncomfortable, or I've had bad experiences with them in the past. But basically, when I lined up their data, and what I was looking for is what was the average monthly profit. So what's the average monthly profit we can hope for by following these bots? What were the monthly lows? What were the monthly highs? And I'm happy with that. So some of the other bots had bigger lows, or they didn't have good monthly averages. So I haven't kept them in the set. For example, the Colossus 01 Home Dog, I did like that one, but turns out its monthly average wasn't that great. Only 50% win rate. Undermintu Yen Strategy, that had been a favourite of mine for a long time, but that's also just breaking even really. And very poor home, that had seemed like a good one, but also that's just basically at break even as well. So they were in my low drawdown strategy set, but I'm going to drop them from the set. And when I was looking at some of the MDDE strategies, some of them was looking interesting, the A9, but I'm just going to use the original version of that one. What I liked about the research that I ended up with is this view I got, where I could see it month by month. I can see that generally they have more winning months than losing months. I can see how much they lost in a single month, and the biggest losses there, and how I feel about it. And the big thing that stands out, is that the terrible December we had, I call it Black December, when virtually every strategy I had, not just of these Betamin ones, but my horse racing ones from Hedger Pro, and some other strategies I was following from some other people, they all seem to have a really unusually bad December. It was really odd. And a few people went bankrupt or gave up, and then the very next month it bounced back. So it was like minus 82 units and then plus 163 units. So pretty much just coming, even if you were on percentage stakes, you'd probably come back to the same level if you'd stuck in there. But after you see a drop of 82 points, I think most people would give up on that. But it's just it was a really odd December, but it's interesting to see that even with that, these still have a decent monthly average, and I would say these are the best. These are the best of all the public strategies I've been using on Betamin based on the statistics I have from the last 12 months. And it's exciting to follow lots of different strategies, but in the end, you just want a few that just really work, that have worked on several platforms, not just with Pinnacle, but with Betfair Exchange, that work automated, that work with Wittig staking. And that's the ones I want to use. Then the next big thing is, what are we going to do about bank management? I had a look at that -82. I think it was a very, very unusual month. That month, I'm not even sure if something funny was happening on Betfair Exchange during that month. Actually, results were so odd for everybody. But still, I would like to prepare a bank that can deal with that again. And I don't really want to see a -82 point drop. So I would consider using 50% stakes there. So if that month happened again, it would be -41 point drop in that month and not -82. But I still want to end up with a good average there. So that would still end up with 144 points in a year and a 12-point average. And that's with just standard Whittaker staking. That's not even with percentage staking. That's just standard kind of smart level stakes kind of style. So I've come up with 2 bank management ideas. Option 1 is having them as separate strategies with separate banks. And this is a little bit different from how I usually do things. And this is because I've been inspired by Martin Horansky's financial market trading bots. His bots are based on cumulative profit, so profits are reinvested as you go along. And even though his bots just have an average of about 3% a month, if that is compounded with a kind of percentage staking, then you can double your bank after about 2 years. And you can build up to something quite meaningful after 6 years. And I'm thinking, well, I want my other strategies to be aiming for that as well. If I've got this strategy going, and if I have 6 other strategies going, and I just need one of these strategies to work for the next 2-3 years, that seems very possible to me. So, for example, the banker strategy has an average monthly increase of 7% based on the last 12 months of data that I have. And that means you could make 137% in a year. So literally, it could double itself in a year. And if it kept doing that, by the end of the second year, it might reach 5,600. And if each of these strategies is running a £1,000 bank of its own, then it's pretty much covering the risk of all the other ones there. But that's if Banker maintains its historical trend. Here, each of the strategies is independent. Each one gets a 1k bank with Wittig staking, but it's a percentage bank. So as the bank gets bigger, it's going to bet larger amounts. And as the bank gets smaller, it'll bet smaller amounts. So if one of them does go on a really bad run, then it'll just end up betting less and less on those tips. So yeah, if one of the strategy's trend stops working, it will just kind of die out by itself. But for the ones whose trend continues, then it will hit some meaningful targets over the next few years. And my first target with all of them would be to double the bank and then take out that first bank and then play with profit. And it'll take 1 year for that with the banker one, 3 years for E2, 4 years for over 2, 2 years for A9, and 2 years for Pro Home, and 2 years for Home Chance. And yeah, it just takes a few of them to keep their trend over the next few years. I think I'm quite interested in approaching it that way now. I have been doing option 2 a lot for most of my past few years, which is where I have a set of strategies using a shared bank, because I wanted them to help each other out in their good and bad runs. And that's been kind of working. I think that does work. And a good point about when it's not a percentage bank is that once you reach a certain profit level, that's kind of safe. 1 bad month probably won't take it all away. But with percentage staking, 1 bad month could take a lot of it away because it's always risking all of the bank. So there's two different bank management options there. One is running them as a set of strategies that are sharing the same bank. So sharing this one's sharing the same £1,000 bank. And to do that, I've decided to use a 50% bank for each bot there. So instead of each bot having £1,000, they have a £500 bank. And that's imagining that if we have that month of death again, then it would just be a minus 41 point drop, not a minus 82 point drop. I do think that horrible December we had was very, very unusual and very, very unlucky. But I also think it's interesting that there was a recovery that came afterwards. These bots were all running with £100 banks, so I didn't really pay much attention to them. So they just kept running, and so they did manage to record this big rebound. But other strategies I was following with larger stakes, I'd stopped them, and I completely missed out on this rebound because I'd given up at that point. So shows how giving up too early can really miss out on the recovery there. And then in the case where you're not sure which is the best back management system to use, then use both. So I'm running this set with 6 different bots, each with their own £1,000 bank, and also a shared set of strategies with 1 mixed bank. And let's see how they go. This one's a bit more conservative, but still after 1 year, it's aiming to double its bank there. And the increase will appear more steady because it's not percentage linked, but you could choose to increase your bank size manually if you wanted to after a year or two if it's working. But that's why I quite like this percentage style of going with it, which is similar to reinvesting profits and dividends in shares and stuff. So yeah, it'd be nice if one strategy just keeps going well and well and well. Just takes one of them to do well for 3 or 4 years, and it will probably cross out my losses for the couple of years in the past. So I'm very excited with this data, so I wanted to double check it. So I went into the Betamin Builder and I downloaded the historical pics of the since shared data to put them into staking analysis. So the since shared data is the data since this strategy was first created and shared publicly. So all of the data going back to 2012 is on this database. And so some strategy might have 1,000 bets or 1,500, but I'm interested in the since shared data. So literally when this strategy was first created and all the new data since then. So this strategy was created August 2020, so just the data from then. This strategy is from February 2019 and all the data since then. That's the E2 strategy. And that's the data I've taken and put into the staking machine, which is really great software that shows you all kinds of different data about the strategies you're using. And I can see how level stakes, and this is target profit staking to win 1%, and this is Whittaker staking. And you can see exactly how it fared over time. And I can switch Whittaker staking to connect it to the current bank balance. And I can have a look again, look at the percentage one, and I'm going to look at target profit staking, 1%, and Whittaker staking. And again, and this is with percentage staking, when you're connecting each bet to the current bank balance, and you can see that it gets really, really high. So Whittaker's getting up somewhere like 4,000 points after 3,500 bets. Target profit staking is down at 1,600, and percentage staking is at 542. And that's a big improvement on the level stakes profit of 280 there. By the way, all these numbers include the first starting bank of 100. So if it says 281 units, that's actually 181 units profit. One thing I always worry about with percentage staking is that if you have a bad run, then the bank will get damaged a lot, and it really depends on the luck of your fixture list. And so I like to use a setting here called profit taking, which is where each time the bank doubles, it resets the bank to 100, and it kind of banks that 200 there. And when I do that, it means I can see how strategies perform over over the long term. Oh, so hang on, that's a bit hard to see, isn't it? Okay, let's just look at Whittaker staking. So each time it drops, that's where it's doubled and it's restarted again, and it's doubled and it's restarted again. And this gives a good feeling of what happens if you join in the middle. What happens if you join at the wrong moment? What's the chances of you ending up with profit? So not just joining after when there's a lucky run, but joining at any time. And then what we can do with that is we can run thousands of Monte Carlo simulations, and that's where it shuffles all this data. It takes a while to do it. It shuffles all the data, and after you shuffle all the data, you get an average profit. So if you shuffle the data and you shuffle the fixture list, we get a much better, much safer picture of what's going to work and what could go bankrupt. And we can see some situations where bankruptcy happens in every shuffle, in every simulation, and some situations where it happened in 1 out of 1,000 shuffles. And from doing this, I come to the conclusion that Whittaker staking with percentage stakes with an ELS setting of 5 has the best results. If you don't want to use percentage and you want to keep it as kind of smart level stakes, then an ELS of 7 is the safer choice. That has had no bankrupt simulations. But if you're okay with a little level of risk, which I am, so I think I'm happy with Whittaker staking ELS 5, and that's what I've used for my not linked to cumulative bots, because its worst situation ended with minus 19 units, so it just needed to dip down a little bit into a refill of a bank, and that only happened in 7 out of 1,000 shuffles, and that would hopefully end up with 455 points of profit. But in my percentage bots, hopefully they will go on a good run and produce that kind of level. I mean, that there were other plans that didn't go bankrupt, that did have a higher total, but they had lower troughs and they had a lower average trough. That's the average lowest point of the simulations. And I'd rather not do that, and it's a little bit more of a complicated plan, so I'm happy to stick with Whittaker staking there. But just wanted to show you how much data I've put into this. So I've got the data from Betamin, I've got the data from my own bots, and I've put them into the staking machine, and I'm very excited about this set. I'm really excited about these percentage bots, and I really think they could do something good over the next few months, and that's why I'm putting out this video, so that you can see why I'm now recommending these 6 bots in particular. So I do recommend you use these if you are using Betamin. So I think Whittaker staking is good if you're not linking things to the current bank, if you're just basing all the stakes on the starting bank. And Whittaker staking is also good if you're using percentage stakes. So if I've got you excited to try these as well, then the setup guide is on my website, bettingsystemsguide.com. Just look for the betting systems drop-down menu, value, betting strategies, and it's there, best 6 betting strategies. And if you go to that page, you will see a detailed setup guide for manual betting and for automated betting. So there, it's on my website, betting systems, value betting strategies, and the best 6 betting strategies. So I think these are good ones to focus on, and the links are here, and the links are also in the description of this video below. But yeah, I reckon having a go at these is probably our best chance of success over the next 12 months. So thank you for watching my video, and I hope you can have a successful next 6 months. So please go to my website, read the setup guide, get started, and hope we get 1 or 2 or 3 of these bots keeping their trend for the next few years and doing something meaningful with our betting banks. Good luck, everyone. Interested in big data betting? Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like this. And check out Betamin's Big Data Betting Research Database that has historical odds and football statistics. If you're looking for betting system recommendations, then come to my website bettingsystemsguide.com, where you can get both manual and automated betting bot systems. You can read more about betting systems in my books, find verified winning tipsters at tippingsports.com, and automate your betting with the BF Bot Manager software. Visit my website for more information. Thanks for watching.